I'll start this video with a question. Can you stand on your tiptoes? You probably can, which means you can use your calf muscles to lift your entire body weight. Good. Now, can you lift the same amount of weight using your biceps? So doing a barbell curl? I don't think you can. So why is that? You're probably thinking, well, calf muscle is much bigger. Like someone used to say, it's not that big. The answer is levers. So that's the purpose of today's video, is to find out what is a lever, how many types of levers they are, and how are they used inside of our body. A lever is a simple machine that has four components. It has a beam or a bar, it has a fulcrum or a pivot, and it has an effort and a load. The way it is used is an effort is applied on one side of the bar to move a load on the other side using a fixed pivot. The distance between the effort and the fulcrum is called effort arm, and the distance between the load and the pivot is called load arm. And the ratio between these two is called a mechanical advantage. This tells us how easy it is to move a load. A value greater than 1 means less effort is required to move the load. A value less than 1 means more effort is required to move the load. And a value of 1 means we are in a state of equilibrium. Our bodies are composed from synovial joints like the hip, the wrist, the elbow, and these act like levers. The bone being the beam, the point of rotation of the joint is the fulcrum, the muscle is the effort, and the load is the loaded body part. There are three types of levers: first-class levers, second-class levers, and third-class levers. Let's first talk about the first-class levers. First-class levers have the fulcrum in the middle. As a real-world scenario, think of a scissor. A scissor is a first-class lever. In terms of our body, there is a joint in our neck, atlanto-occipital joint, and that is a first-class lever, and it helps us to nod forward and back. That's a first-class lever. Now, what's the advantage and disadvantage of this lever? For this type of lever, you can have the load closer to the pivot. In this case, the mechanical advantage is greater than 1, which means less effort is required to move the load, but the disadvantage is the range of motion. You don't have a lot of range of motion. Now, if the effort is closer to the pivot, then you will have a lot more range of motion, but the downside is you need more effort to move that load. For the second-class lever, the load is in the middle. As a real-world scenario, think of a wheelbarrow. That's a second-class lever. In terms of our body, our calf muscles is a second-class lever, so when you're standing on your tiptoes. We are starting to find out the answer. The advantage of this lever is less effort is required to move a load. The downside, not that much range of motion. And finally, for the third-class lever, the effort is in the middle. Real-world scenario is a barbecue tongue, and in terms of our body, the elbow joint is a third-class lever. The advantage is a lot of range of motion. Think of a bicep curl. The downside, a lot of effort is required by the biceps to move the load. Now, one thing to note is a lever with a mechanical advantage greater than 1 cannot also increase the range of motion. So some levers have advantages, some have disadvantages. So to conclude this video, your calves are using a second-class lever which has the advantage of requiring less effort to move a load. That's why you can lift your entire body weight. But disadvantage is the range of motion is not that big when you're standing on your tiptoes, comparing to doing a bicep curls where you're having a lot of range of motion because it's a third-class lever, different lever. But the disadvantage is your bicep requires a lot of effort to move a load. So, if you enjoyed this video, please like the video and subscribe if you want more. I'll see you next time.